Hello, this is Paulina B. You're listening to episode number 9 of my weekly show. I've been seeing a particular trend on YouTube, Reddit, and other platforms. I've been seeing a lot of content with titles such as How to Read 50 Books a Year, or How I Read 100 Books Last Year, or How to Read 1 Book per Week. You get the idea. Basically, a bunch of videos and articles on how you can read a lot of books. And I'm the person who actually reads more than 50 books a year. But here's the thing. I believe reading more books will not make you successful. Today I want to explain why.
Welcome to the Monthly Method Podcast. This is a show for solopreneurs, creators, and artists who have a burning desire to launch a project. This is for a project that is not urgent, but truly important. The one your best life depends on. Your host, Paulina B., is a certified Scrum Master. She brings a proven record of launching successful projects, both professional and personal. You will hear about tested techniques that lead to calm, consistency, and results. Stay tuned to turn your idea into reality 1 month at a time.
I'm not going to lie, I used to be the person who thought that reading more books would make me smart and successful. The first year I decided to read 50 books, I watched a bunch of these videos on YouTube. I created schedules and plans for myself on how to achieve this goal. I had a daily page count I needed to hit in order to be on track. I did end up reading more than 50 books that year, but guess what? It didn't bring me the success I was hoping for. I had this illusion that all those books had this magic secret I had to find. Once I find it, everything will change. The day I find the secret, I will get everything I've dreamt of my entire life. And usually people who embark on this journey of reading 50 plus books a year have the same illusion. But guess what? Your life will not change unless you start taking actions, unless you actually go and do something, unless you try something and fail, get up and fail again. And you cannot do these things if you're busy reading books. You cannot be taking actions while you're reading a book. It is either one or another. This is the difference between an active and a passive action. Many of us are taking passive actions. This is when we do research, Google things, read books on the topic, find YouTube videos, and take online courses. This is everything we are doing when we think we don't have enough information. Active action is when we are actually doing something, when we produce things, when we are engaged in the creative process, when we ship the work, when we do something with our hands, our brain, and our soul. Active action is when we face risk. When we are doing passive actions, there is zero probability of failure. There is no risk. When we are actively doing something, when we are taking an active action, there is a possibility for failure. There is risk. There is a chance it won't work. If you think you need to read a lot of books in order to achieve your goal, you're probably afraid of taking active actions. You want to hide behind the passive action. You want to hide behind reading books. You are telling yourself that unless you read 50 books, you can't take the first step. You don't have enough information. Very often, this endless research is just fear. Some people call it perfectionism, but perfectionism is, again, just fear. Okay, let's look at the difference between passive and active actions one more time. Reading 10 books on how to write an ideal blog post is a passive action. Writing and publishing a blog post is an active action. Listening to 100 podcasts on starting a business is a passive action. Building a website, launching it, and advertising it is an active action. Reading 10 books on ideal diet is a passive action. Picking one weight loss activity that you want to try and sticking to it for a month is an active action. I have a friend in my life who is probably one of the most successful people career-wise that I know. He achieved incredible results in a very short amount of time. And the funny thing is that this guy doesn't read books. I don't think that he has read a single book ever since he graduated high school. And I'm not really sure if he read books cover to cover in high school either. This friend of mine just goes and tries things and fails. He's always doing something. He's taken massive actions. And this is what allows him to grow in his career. Don't get me wrong, he educates himself a lot throughout the process. He's not an arrogant dude who thinks he knows everything. But the difference is that he approaches it from the place of just-in-time information. Many of us consume information just in case we ever need it. My friend consumes information when he needs it, when he needs this information to take the right action. For example, he needs to figure out how to create a contract for a new group of clients. He would read a lot of information on different types of contracts out there. What should be included in the contract? What shouldn't be included? How is it different from what they have for a different group of clients? When he needs to create a contract, he consumes a lot of information on how to create a solid contract. But the goal of his research is to actually have the contract created and sent to the customer. And he has a very limited amount of time for this research because there is a deadline. He gets as much research done as he can in this short amount of time. Then he goes and does something with this information. In this case, he creates the first draft of a contract he can send to a lawyer for the review. But many of us would read dozens of business books and have all this information about different types of businesses, how to file taxes, how to do bookkeeping, how to do marketing, and we don't even have the idea of the product yet. Why do we need all this information? Why do we spend so much time and energy acquiring it when we don't need it yet? So my point here is if you're tempted to read 50 plus books a year and most of them are non-fiction, ask yourself, why? Why do you want to do that? Most likely it is because you think that reading more books will make you smart and it will make it easier to take actions. But let me tell you, it won't. Most likely it will have the opposite effect. It will make you more confused because you will find different opinions on the same topic. And then you need to figure out which one is correct. And then you need to read even more books. All of this is happening while you're sitting there and not taking action. Instead of saying to yourself that this year you will read 50 books, why don't you set a goal for yourself to actually do actionable steps in order to get to your goal? If it's launching a successful company, why don't you create a goal of taking the steps that will get you there? One of my favorite sayings come from a Zen Buddhist monk, and it goes like this: nothing is hidden. What it means is that we often think that there is the secret, that only one person knows how this whole universe works, that you have to pay thousands of dollars to find your perfect guru, to find your perfect book, to read the perfect article, to find the truth. But then Buddhism teaches us that nothing is hidden. It means that the truth is out there, and if you are willing to be mindful, and if you are willing to pay attention and analyze the world around you, you will find this secret on your own. You don't need to find the guru or the perfect book. All you need to do is to just pay attention to what's going on around you. What if you decided to actually use your brain and your attention to find your own truth? I have a postgraduate science degree, and I know that what we call a scientific approach is very similar to this Buddhism idea of nothing being hidden. Think about it. Scientists track what's going on and then they analyze the data to find the answer. First, they observe. Yes, they might construct some experiments, but then their job is to just sit back and observe how their subjects react. And then they try to see common trends among what just happened to derive the truth. You can do the same with every question you have. You don't have to read hundreds of books. Let's take weight loss, for example. Why don't you just observe people who are naturally thin, without all the drama in your own head? Wear a scientist's hat. Just observe and try to find some common trends. How do these people think? What do they eat? What do they think about food? Do they obsess over it? Do they overeat? If not, then why? Conduct your own research and let naturally thin people be the subjects of this research. Or let's look at the business example. Let's say you want to learn how to do Facebook ads. You can go and spend thousands of dollars on different courses. You can read hundreds of books, or you could just go on Facebook every day and maybe spend half an hour to an hour just scrolling and seeing what ads you see. Take screenshots and analyze them. Pay attention to the ads you see more than once. It probably means they're working. The company wouldn't be spending their marketing budget on ineffective ads. See what works and what doesn't. What triggered your attention as a consumer? What is common among all these ads? You can even go to your competitor's page and see what ads they are running. See what they're doing, how they phrase things. They're probably following some sort of template for their Facebook ads. There will be some similarities between different ads they're running. Remember, nothing is hidden. If you're willing to pay attention, you will find the truth. I've mentioned in the introduction that I still read more than 50 books a year. But the reason why I do it is very different. For me, reading a book is a pleasurable experience. I love new ideas. They inspire me. I love feeling inspired. Who doesn't? I read books first thing in the morning with my coffee. I like to get inspired in the morning while I'm drinking my coffee. It motivates me to show up for my schedule and be productive throughout the day. I like reading fiction books at night. Again, I do it solely for pleasure. Plus, it helps me to fall asleep quickly and get my 8 hours of sleep. I like beautiful stories. I love a beautiful language. I think reading books help me a little bit with my own writing. I get true satisfaction from beautiful phrases, from unexpected combination of words. Some people like watching movies. Some people like going to the galleries. I like reading books. It's just my preferred form of art. I have no illusions that reading so many books is making me successful. It might be improving my language, my writing, but it's not improving my chances for success. Taking massive actions consistently is what's improving my chances for success. Another reason why I read so many books is because I don't want to be spending too much time on my phone. Reading is a great substitute for my screen time. Instead of scrolling Instagram or YouTube, I would rather read a book. Why? Because social media use ruins my concentration. When I spend too much time on social media, I am training my brain to be switching context every 2 seconds. I am training my brain to be seeking novelty every 2 seconds. As you might imagine, this is not helpful for doing hard work during my workday. When I sit down to write a blog post or record a podcast, I don't want my brain to start searching for novel stimulation every 2 seconds. I want it to be able to concentrate on one thing for 60 to 90 minutes straight. Basically, I'm reading books in order to decrease my phone usage because social media is very harmful to how our brains work. Any action that takes me away from scrolling is good for me. I just find that reading a book is the easiest way to do that on a daily basis. Let's recap this whole episode. Reading books will not make you successful. It will not make it easier to take actions. It will not make it easier to fail. There are no magic secrets hidden inside hundreds of books that you're planning to read. There might be some useful information, but it's not essential for taking actions. Remember, nothing is hidden. Use this phrase for yourself to save time, money, and energy. Focus on taking actions and consuming just-in-time information, not just-in-case information. The feedback that you will get from your actions is so much more valuable than reading hundreds of books. Reading books can be a great tool if you want to improve your writing, enrich your vocabulary, strengthen your concentration, and spend less time on social media. But reading books should not take your time away from taking actions that will bring you closer to your goals. Have a great week, everyone. Please subscribe if you want to get a freshly baked episode delivered to you next Monday. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want to ask a question, leave a comment, or share something interesting, please use the link provided in the show notes. I look forward to hearing from you and answering your questions in the upcoming episodes.